mathematicians. Today we're going to look at factoring trinomials. Trinomials have three pieces. Alright, so we are going to look at a specific way to factor these. And this does not work for all cases, but we're going to go through some of these and look at what we need to do. First, C is the value by itself without an x or of any other variable. So I'm going to look for the multiples of C. I'm going to make a chart and I'm going to find the ones that add to the middle piece. Okay? And then I'm going to break it up as two different parentheses. So I'm taking a trinomial and writing it as two different parentheses. Before, we started with this and double distributed to get this. Now we're working backwards. So first, a squared plus 8a plus 15. I want us first to find the multiples of 15. So multiples of 15. And I want the ones that add to be 8. So start listing them. I have 1 and 15. And what else? 3 and 5. All right. 1 plus 15 is 16. Is that the one I want? No. 3 plus 5 is 8. Is that what I want? Yes. So this is the pair that I want. So now that I have those two, I'm going to have my two parentheses. And my variable is a. So I'm going to have an a in each one. And this is a positive 3, so I will write plus 3. And this is a positive 5, so I will write plus 5. And this now is in factored form. If we were to double distribute, we would get a squared plus 8a plus 15. Let's take a look at this one. I want to look at the multiples of which value? 9. And I want them to add to the middle 10. So it's always the multiples of the last number that add to the middle number. List the multiples of 9. 1 and 9. What else? 3 and 3. 1 plus 9 is 10. Is that what I wanted? Yes. 3 plus 3 gives us 6, so that would not have been the good match. So 1 times 9 gives me 9, and they add to be 10. So inside my parentheses, what should my two variables be? M and M. What else do I need? Plus 1 and plus 9. This is now in factored form. Right? If you were to double distribute this out, you'd get up the trinomial that we started with. Let's take a look at number 3. There are 3 terms and they have nothing in common, so always look to see, do we have a greatest common factor, and they don't. So I'm going to look for the multiples of what value? 21. And we want them to add to be negative 22. So this is a little different. So if I list the multiples of 1 or 21, I get 1. And it needs to be positive, so 1 times 21. That gives us 22. Is that what I want? No, I want a negative 22, so I'm really close. I need to get a positive. This will not work. What else will give me a positive 21? It involves some negatives. A negative 1 and a negative 21. A negative times a negative is a positive. And now when I add negative 21 and negative 1, negative 22. This was the match I was looking for. So you need to check extra carefully because sometimes they're going to be negatives. A negative times a negative is a positive. Right? I must have that middle piece of negative 22, so I must have two negatives. Now that I found my two matches, what goes inside? M is my variable, and my value here, -1 and -21. And that is it. Number 4, do they have any common factor? No, I can't take any piece out. So my first step is to do what? Find the things that multiply to -40 and make sure that's a -40. Multiply to -40. And I want the ones that add to 3, the middle piece. So they multiply to be -40, they add to be 3. Let's list some options for -40. Now if I want it to be negative, one of them must be negative. So I have 1 and -40. Remember, I want it to multiply to be negative, so one has to be negative, one positive. So what is my other option using these values? -1 and +40. How about something else? 2 and -20. And I can rewrite this as -2 and 20. Does 3 go into 40? No. How about 4? Yes, I could 4 and -10. Remember, one has to be positive, one negative. The other match then would be -4 and +10. Does 5 go into 40? Yes. 5 and -8 and -5, +8. I'm looking for the one that adds to 3. So 1 and -40, -39. That can't work. What about -1, +40? They add to be +39. Can that work? No. What am I looking them to add to? 3. 2 and -20, -18. Does that work? Nope. -2 and 20, +18 does not work. 4 and -10, -6 does not work. -4, +10, +6 does not work. I'm getting closer. 5 and -8, -3, really close. I need it to be +3, so that does not work. -5 and 8 is +3. There is my one that works. So inside parentheses, what's my variable? H. And my options? -5, +8. List all the options for -40. Make sure one is positive, one's negative, and then switch. Find the one that adds up to 3. Okay. Next, it's going to ask us to solve by factoring. Now, to solve by factoring, I need to get everything on the left. So I can't have a -28 here. I need it all to be on one side. So how do you get rid of a -28? Add 28. So we're left with x squared plus 16x plus 28 equals 0. Go ahead, find the things that multiply to 28 and add to 16. List them out, find your options that work. Let's see how you did. Multiples of 28. 1 and 28 2 and 14. What else? 4 and 7. Which one added to 16? 2 and 14 added to 16. So inside your parentheses we have x plus 2 and x plus 14. Now, because this equals 0, if I have two things multiplying to 0, one of them has to equal 0. Something times 0 equals 0. So I'm going to set both of these equal to 0. And then solve. X minus 2. So x equals negative 2. And what about here? Minus 14, x equals negative 14. So my answer, negative 2 and negative 14, would both make that 0. So you're going to factor it, and then set each piece to 0 and solve. Try this next one on your own. Let's see how you did. Can I have this equal to 27? No, so subtract 27 on both sides. We get g squared plus 6g minus 27. When you made your list, we want things that add or multiply to negative 27, that add to 6 in the middle. So things that multiply to get negative 27. One has to be negative. One has to be positive. What was something else that worked? 3 and negative 9 and negative 3, positive 9. Out of those 4, which one gave us 6? This is negative 26. Add those. Positive 26. Add these. Negative 6. Add these ones. Positive 6. Which pair worked? The negative 3 and 9. So in my parentheses we should have g minus 3 and plus 9. Now if this equals 0 and they want us to solve, what did you have to do next? Set each piece equal to 0. And when you solve, add 3 and you get g equals 3 minus 9, g equals negative 9. So the two values that would make that equal 0 would be 3 and negative 9. Factor, set each piece equal to 0, and solve. Nice job today, mathematicians.